Hello, today I'm doing a quick rundown on my PowerPoint presentation on educational interpreter evaluation processes and methods that we need to incorporate into our professional life in order to sharpen the saw, as it were. So on slide 1 is my title page. On slide 2, I describe how we should really never rely exclusively on one way of evaluation. There are many different types of evaluations. They can be scheduled, incidental, they can be formal, informal, casual, and they can also be extrinsic or intrinsic. And it's most effective when we use a variety of ways and our professional development is ongoing. Educational interpreter evaluations can be done by many different perspectives as well. A building administrator, perspective of your supervisor or teachers, student perspectives, faculty and team evaluations, self-evaluations, and mentorships, which are becoming much more popular in recent days. Also, the educational interpreter performance examination or assessment has gained extensive popularity in educational interpreting. It utilizes a team of qualified evaluators, but again, we should not just use one way to evaluate ourselves. On slide 3, I describe a professional development plan in order to sharpen the saw, as I described before, which is the 7th habit identified by Covey that helps us to renew our 4 dimensions of the human condition, which are our physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional selves. We need to have a professional development plan in place to help us to continue to expand our knowledge as educational interpreters. This professional development plan is a proactive action plan that identifies knowledge, skills, attitudes that need to be developed, and what resources, activities, and the timeline that you will use to enable the acquisition of each. In order to be successful with our plan, this evaluation process must be in place. On slide 4, there are a couple pictures on what a building administrator might evaluate you on. It typically focuses on overall job performance. On slide 5, supervisor assessments are typically done by your supervisor, obviously, the deaf and hard of hearing teacher, maybe a supervisor in the main office like a principal or another person that specifically holds that job for doing assessments and evaluations. Supervisor assessments provide really assessments at all different grade levels, and it's just mostly does your basic knowledge of your interpreting processes, and does it look like you're completing your job? Do you have the ability to cooperatively work with your coworkers? Do you have the specialized knowledge needed to continue working effectively? Slide 6 is teacher assessments. This is typically done by the teacher of the deaf student. So you may or may not have several different teachers. If you're in an elementary setting, typically just one, but junior high and high school settings frequently have more than one teacher. It may also be a part of the evaluation that your supervisor is doing. They may request that a teacher does an assessment as well. It focuses mostly on student and interpreter relations and relations with the teacher. Slide 7 is faculty evaluations. This is typically done by other members of the team that you aren't in direct contact with. So perhaps the secretary in the office, maybe another teacher that you might not work directly with, but that sees you on a regular basis. They take into consideration overall job performance. Are you able to work with team members effectively? Slide 8 is student evaluations. Now these need to be taken kind of with a grain of salt. Sometimes you may have a student that just loves you and you may have a student that doesn't like you so much. So student evaluations can be very helpful, but you have to also be careful. The age of the student, are they at a age that they can evaluate effectively? And self-evaluations. These are very, very important. Slide 9 discusses the most effective way to self-evaluate is to videotape your work. However, you can evaluate without videotaping, but that is the best way to be able to look back and to see if you feel like you got the message across accurately. And this is one of the most important things to do on an ongoing basis. Slide 10 discusses mentorship a little bit. It's gaining rapid popularity. When you do have a mentor, you want to make sure that the mentor is above your skill level and has the ability to give you feedback that can be productive to your growth. Now, slides 11, 12, and 13 is discussing what is typically evaluated. These slides give you a general idea of things that are evaluated, such as interpersonal characteristics, your effectiveness as a team member. Are you flexible? Are you professional? Do you take your confidentiality and your code of professional conduct seriously? Are you dependable? What is your attendance like? Do you have respect for students and teachers? Are you prepared for class? Do you have ongoing professional development? How are your tutoring skills, and do you advocate for students? Slide 15 is some available resources that I found online that are PDF formats of an evaluation that you can do. You can click on those and get a more general idea of what you want to be evaluated, print out those pieces of paper, hand them out to people that you want to evaluate you, or use them for your own self-evaluations. And slide 16 cites my works cited. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this research that I did on evaluations is helpful to your future career.